Alright everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Carida Cast. I'm Mike Hinton, TK5351 of Garrison, Carida.
And I'm Colin Durborow, TK97670.
Alright, so I guess we'll just start with, this is January 31st.
It is the 31st, yes.
So we're a little behind on what we thought we'd do.
We have till midnight to upload this before we're lying, and this becomes the February issue.
Right, okay. So our first thing in news, because last time we did this was right before The Last Jedi came out, and I'm finally saying The Last Jedi, not Force Awakens. So, I saw you.
Yeah.
You were in your TK. I was just there as a civilian at Penn Cinema.
Yep, Penn Cinema.
And
here in Lidditz.
Right, so I got to see it. I did get to see it at 6:30. So you had to wait.
I had to wait all the way till 10:30 to see it. Yeah.
How long were you in armor?
How long was I in armor? Oh, that was a 4-hour deal, I think. It wasn't too bad.
It was a good crowd, though. It was a good crowd.
We had times to go take breaks too between when the whole crowd would like disappear because they went to go see the movie. So we had a chance to break every so often. That was good.
And Channel 8 was there.
Yeah,
I saw Channel 8 was
had
there.
Some great news coverage
and good interviews for you guys. So it was kind of neat. We weren't just hanging around being annoying.
Yeah. Just that giant BB-8, different sizes of BB-8s.
Yes.
There were a lot of them.
You saw Zoe in her BB-8 costume?
I did, yeah.
Yes. And I got to put the porg over Susan Shapiro, the newscaster. I held a porg over her head like it was looking at her. Over her shoulder, if you watch the video. This little porg, it's me running the porg.
Causing a disturbance, you darn kids.
I know. I was so pumped to see it. So I was really glad to be there.
I rather enjoyed it, yeah. So because of that and how big it was, we thought we'd just start off the episode by some quick quasi-review. People have been asking my opinion of the movie.
Yes. People bosses at work that normally don't even talk to me coming, hey, did you know there was a new Star Wars movie? I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so we thought we'd just start with that real quick. I personally loved it.
I'm with you on that.
Unpopular opinion, people feel free to hunt me down for this, but it skyrocketed its way to my favorite Star Wars movie for so many reasons.
Yeah, I think I'm at this point now with them that they're almost chapters in a book to me.
Also true, yeah.
I mean, people can have their favorite, but I can pick out my first one I saw when I was a kid and this and that. Like Force Awakens will always mean a lot to me because it was the first one I got to see with my daughters, first new one. But this one too, I just think it was. I just liked everything about it.
It was surprisingly well written. I had never heard of this director before. I'd never heard of Rian Johnson before, and I was really impressed with the work, both cinematic work visually and on an audio level, because I'm.
Yes, that's your thing.
Gross about things like that, but also just on a writing level too. I thought the story was unexpected, and I really loved that. Granted, a lot of people had problems with how unexpected things were, with how it didn't conform to exactly what they had wished the movie was going to be. Right. But I liked that. It just said, no, we're going to be our own story. This isn't about you, the fans. This is about the Star Wars universe, and I really enjoyed how that was the case.
Well, and you know what? I think a lot of the stuff, because actually today, one of the bosses from work stopped by, and he didn't really like it, but then we got talking, and he's not really connected into Star Wars. Like, he's just like, hey, I like Star Wars every time a movie comes out, which is fine. But some of the stuff that people had problems with, I felt I saw in Rebels already, or I read in a book, or, you know what I mean? Like, I know,
yeah.
So I don't want to hash over what people don't like, because then they'll just be yelling at us on the thing, but I feel like some of the stuff that it might have shocked me or might have made me think, well, hey, how'd that work? But I've seen it on Rebels already, or they've kind of gotten me ready for it, and I really liked it. I like the bombers especially. Like, you couldn't have started that out any better, And I like that big dreadnought. Like that was
so cool.
That big dreadnought ship.
Oh, I lost it. When we saw that at the premiere, I just lost it. All of us in the little row were like, boom!
Yep.
Forced back in our seats because it was just such a cool entrance for a new ship.
Yep. And it didn't last too long for a new ship.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, and I like that they showed because Poe was supposed to be this really good pilot, and in the first movie they showed how he was a good pilot, and this showed he was a good pilot. Like he kept his cool. And, That was kind of cool, and I liked even though I like that little like booster rocket with a little flame, almost like it had to ignite. Like I just thought that was just like a cool touch for, I don't know, I just really like that, and I'm normally not a Rebels liking guy. I felt bad for all the, poor pilots of the Imperials.
You really actually kind of felt for them. You saw them for 10 minutes, and poof, all gone. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
And
Spoiler alert.
By the way, I guess we should have stuck that at the front, huh? But oh well.
And then we saw Chewie.
You've seen it by now.
We saw Chewie again, and Marty, one of our Chewbacca in Carida. He was saying how he saw different textures, and I'm like, man, I wish I saw things like that. I'm a TK. I just see nice big white plastic armor.
See, they changed their frown on the stormtrooper. That's about it.
Yeah, that's it.
The detail that you notice.
Yeah, that's why if I ever need to impress people that I have a mug on my desk and the students are like, and I'm like, oh, that's from Empire, because the kids look at me. It's like, yeah, and then that's about my impressing.
Blows their minds anyway. They wouldn't have noticed.
Right, but I think we've seen it. I want to say 7 times, but we have Movie Pass now, so. It used to be
You stop counting. You don't get a bill.
Yeah, just like that. So. Yeah, just like it's almost like I have to see it or I'm wasting money.
I've only seen it 3 times, but I've seen it in all 3 different formats. In order, I liked it. The premiere was in IMAX 3D. You can never go wrong with IMAX 3D.
Right.
It's so immersive. It's really nice. But otherwise, I'm a fan of. I like standard format.
Right.
2D. You don't get motion. Well, I get motion sickness, so regular 3D kind of it doesn't work so well just because of the size of the screen, seeing everything else around the glasses. It's just it's a strain on my brain, and I like to just enjoy the movie for what it is.
Right. Yeah, we saw it in IMAX 3D at Whitaker Center, but I'm so used to going to Penn with the recliners that those IMAX seats are straight up and down because it's the giant old-fashioned screen. So we were like, oh, this is a little... But we trooped that. We trooped that Sunday, I believe it was. We trooped the Whitaker Center. And that I think that's the last troop I've done. But that was really nice. It was warm because it was all indoors. We didn't really have... They made us... We went and trooped like right in front of the theater, and then we just... In the lobby, and there was really no airflow. So it was like... It got a little toasty in there.
Gotta say, I have 2 tied for first favorite moments of the movie, though, and that's the Admiral Holdo warp crashing her ship into the entire First Order fleet.
Yes.
Breathless every time. I'm down to 1 tear every time I see the scene. That's, it's so beautiful, cinematically perfect in every way. Even if there are people out there who believe scientifically it should have been a more impressive explosion, I still think it was really cool.
Yeah, well, it couldn't have been that explosive because they had to be able to get back down to Crate.
Yeah,
because then they'd be complaining, well, how did they survive?
Yeah, technically, from a scientific standpoint, something going at light speed should have actually created a wormhole, or a wormhole equivalent amount of power in the explosion.
Right.
But, you got to keep the story going, so you can't just instantly kill everyone.
Right,
It'd be a real quick way to cap off the Star Wars
universe. Yeah, there you go.
Just everyone is dead. No more story. But the second favorite scene is Luke walking out of the Resistance base and staring down the entire First Order at sunset. Which is, of course, apropos, because earlier in the movie, he's like, what do you want me to do? Go face down the entire First Order on my own?
With my laser sword?
With my laser sword.
Yeah.
That was just so powerful.
And that was
such an impact.
That was my favorite Kylo stuff, was when he was freaking out. Because you saw how he was, because he was like, I want every gun. Like, he started calmly. And it started right before that was when the Falcon came. So he let his emotions ruin that because he just wanted That's one of some of my favorite scenes. The bomb run is still when that single bomber's coming and that guy's looking through the window and he's like, someone get them. That's one of my favorite scenes, and the throne room fight.
That was cool
because it changed. Like, it was weird because when it first had that red background, I was like, that's a little. And then when once it caught on fire, then it changed almost to like a battle in hell.
Yeah.
As it was burning, and then when it all ended, it was like they were out in space, with the giant windows. So, I mean, and then Safi and I sit and watch and see if Zoe's crying at the end. So, yeah.
What I liked about that scene was that it started off in slow-mo, like that's the movie trope. It starts off in slow-mo and then it cuts to another scene somewhere else.
Right.
They didn't do that. They actually just went right into the fight. I thought that was so cool. That doesn't happen that often in the movies that I see.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really good choice, a really good visual choice, and just a pacing choice too.
And it ended with the whole movie. Rey was naive up until that point.
Yeah.
And it ended with her not being naive in the sense that she went.
Yeah, she had like an epiphany there.
Right. So, and then I listened on a podcast or something somewhere where they were saying that every time Kylo had his hand out towards her with his glove on, he was lying. And every time he had his hand out without his glove, he said, so when they were saying, so when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, I don't know if that was meant on purpose, but it did seem like he was way more genuine when he just had his hand out than when he had his glove out, which I thought was kind of neat. That's not I forget who I heard it. I didn't think that up.
Though I got a friend of mine, their favorite part was just seeing one of the Praetorian guards get, quote, cubed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was entertaining. I rather enjoyed that.
That was neat armor. It reminded me of the Clone Wars episode when that giant dragon in the first season was like impervious. Yeah, the Zillo Beast. Yeah, was impervious to lightsabers.
But yeah, that was a cool design.
Yeah,
but it's reminiscent of some of the old Star Wars Legends stuff, like the Old Republic, where they had the lightsaber resistant armor or whatever.
Well, you would think someone would make that.
Yeah, you'd think that'd be something that would have been come up with.
You would think Jedi would have come up with it because half of them are missing their hands, like gloves.
So I thought it was about time we started seeing that, or see that be made re-canon. I don't know if we're going to get to see any of that in the animated series, but...
I just can't wait till our Royal Guards around here start making those costumes.
Yeah, right.
I think there's one in Maryland already, I think.
I've seen guys working on it with their 3D printers who have files going, but I haven't seen anybody put it together yet.
I've seen a couple of pictures in the West Coast, but I haven't seen any here. But looks like good armor.
Everybody should do it right now. It's
a
great armor.
So if you're listening now, drop whatever you're doing, send the armor to us, we'll take care of it, and start your red armor.
Oh, yeah. But obviously the one with the double blades and the mushroom hat, because that's the coolest one. The rest of them are kind of meh.
Yeah, I knew they had different helmets, but the first time I watched the movie, I didn't even notice it.
Oh yeah.
They just all look the same, and then I so I guess I'm whatever biased. Red, the Sovereign Protectors will come and get me. So for those that are, so it's not an acronym, but it's the Sovereign Protectors are the detachment.
That's the detachment
in charge of the Royal Guards, and I think the Praetorian, the purple ones from.
Those are the. The Republic
Guards,
right?
And then now these guys fall under those as well.
Yeah,
I think they fall under, every time. So back to our 501st in mid review. Anytime a new costume comes out, someone higher up in the 501st decides. I guess the detachments probably vie for it, or they probably have to convince someone up. Well, that belongs more to us, and that belongs because I know, when Clone Wars came out, a lot of those different armors got divvied up. Mm-hmm. Between the biker scout people and stormtrooper people and stuff like that. So
yeah, I know there was debate when Rogue One came out, which detachment the shore trooper, the Scarif stormtrooper they were called, which detachment they went under. They ended up under Pathfinders, like the scout troopers,
right.
But I don't know.
Maybe it was like a sitting test. If you could sit.
Well, it was because their official title is Scarif Stormtrooper, whereas Scout Trooper is a Scout Trooper, and that was the side for Stormtrooper. But the Scout side, they wanted it because the helmet is more and the armor itself is more reminiscent of a Scout, more mobile sort of unit, and I think that's why they ended up getting it.
I'd like to see the final argument that won that for them.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I was only kind of half following that argument because it wasn't on every detachment page.
Right,
so.
yeah, I'm only on the Stormtrooper detachment, and I don't really go there as much as I probably should. Is that 1st Infantry?
First, it's FISD, so that's the First Imperial Stormtrooper Detachment.
First Imperial, so.
Yeah, you're thinking of Expert Infantry,
That's
the second level of approval.
Okay.
So yeah, that's our Last Jedi
That's
review somehow in there. Coming up soon is the Han Solo movie. Solo.
So, I honestly, I have a feeling. So I really liked Rogue One, but Rogue One was one of those things where I was like, okay, that'll get me through till the next episodic movie, and so Han Solo, I was just like, and then when Ron Howard took over, I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. So I think I'm gonna really like Han Solo. That's my prediction.
I wasn't up until now looking forward to it. It's not a movie that I wanted to have made. I've gotten enough between the original trilogy, Han Solo and Force Awakens, all of the Marvel Star Wars comics that have been following the main squad, Luke, Han, Leia, and also I just recently played through the storyline anyway of Battlefront 2, and you got some Han Solo in there too, so I personally have had enough Han. His personality and backstory even have been well established for me, which I'm glad they're taking an approach from even another before A New Hope approach to Han Solo and his friends. So it's okay. We get a cool story of within his backstory, but I understand him well enough as a character and think his story is developed as fully as it could. So it's not a movie that I feel like I need. I don't need the next step in the Han Solo story. That's just me though.
Yeah, well, and I the two things that kind of get me excited is Chewie and the Millennium Falcon. Well, and Lando.
I'm interested to see Donald Glover's take on Lando.
Yeah. So I'm curious if Solo is going to be more like the vehicle for those people. Because like Chewie, I've always liked, and the Falcon, when I saw it on Force Awakens, that was one of my best moments on Force Awakens when they were taking off and it was bouncing and stuff, and then this one when it was flying over and she's like gunning down TIE fighters, and it just made me realize how much I love that ship. So that.
But I saw they've released images of like Lego sets for this movie,
right? And
I've seen what the Millennium Falcon supposedly looks like, and if I remember correctly, it doesn't look like the original.
Oh, please don't tell me.
Somehow, it's only got like one point on the front, and it's still got the side cockpit, but it's like there are blue details all over it, and it's still called the Millennium Falcon. But then that leads the question for me is, wait, the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy was already a hunk of junk, so like that's an upgrade from whatever the Millennium Falcon was before. How crappy was it? How crappy of a ship was it before?
Yeah. Well, I always thought of it. It was like in the Star Wars universe, probably my best. It would be equivalent to someone pulling up in like a Ryder truck. Mm-hmm. Because it's just the haul stuff. So
Yeah.
So and
like my van, it's like that's my van is the money.
Well, and in the old EU, what made it so fast and so good was it had two equivalent to like R2 units built in, and they were like the best at what they did, but they hated each other, and they were always sabotaging each other. That's why it was everything wouldn't work all the time. That's why you had to hit it, and that's why things were breaking. That was the one EU story. I don't know if it came out of like West End Games or a book or something like that, but that was like the old EU story of the Falcon or something.
I did not know that.
So. But, and
I don't know if that's canon still.
No, it's probably not. But
I don't like having to follow every sentence I say with that, but
right.
But no, I didn't. I actually that's new information to me.
You have to look.
That's really cool.
It might be in an old West End game book that I had. I'll have to see if I still have it. But I'm curious to see what happens. I mean, it's going to be weird to like just get the Blu-ray of The Last Jedi and then go getting ready for a movie, because they already have them posted on our boards. Troops and events. So Marty will probably be busy. As Chewie,
Oh yeah. A lot of demand for Chewie for that one, I'm sure.
But that would be really cool. It's almost like we need like a background of the Millennium Falcon cockpit to take with Marty at the movie theater.
Oh, that would go
and then
over really well.
and just we'll have to see if we I don't think we
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge to our listeners.
Yeah, come on. Go buy us a big thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm looking forward to Star Wars, and Lando is one of those ones where it's mainly who's playing it. Because when I was a kid, I hated Lando because he, Han got frozen, and so I saw it in the theater, and then I didn't know Han was coming back. So you had all that time I had
where you
years
were
of
thinking,
anger towards
kidding.
Lando. Because even though he made up the end, I was like, because I had my Han Solo figures, and because I was, let me see, I would have been, I think I was like, I want to say I was 12 when I saw Empire. I'm old, but I was like really upset because we didn't have any spoilers, we didn't have the internet. You're lucky if you saw something on TV. So I thought, oh man, no more Han. I was really angry. So.
Yeah. Although I have heard good things about the actual production of the movie itself, so at the very least, I'm looking forward to seeing it as a movie.
Ron Howard's movies are always.
Yeah. So I am looking forward to it. After hearing stuff like that, I'm more looking forward to it more than I was before. But
yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be a Star Wars movie. It's going to be a different side.
I'm not going to hate it.
It's supposed to take, if I remember when I read, it was supposed to take place over like a span of years. Like you're supposed to see an opening scene, and then you're supposed to catch up with them years later and years later. So it could be that Falcon picture you see. It could be the original one that he may not even own. And then someone pointed out on another podcast that when Han brags about the Falcon, he doesn't brag that he did the race that quick.
He's just bragging that the Falcon did.
Yeah.
Huh.
So imagine if we find out he didn't even fly the Kessel Run. He just got the ship that did the Kessel Run.
Interesting. I swear to God, though, if they actually put the Kessel Run in the movie, I'm going to lose it, though.
It would be nice.
I do not want to. I don't want to see that. I'm going to come straight forward and say that that's.
Well, there's certain things. But see, I never thought when I first saw New Hope when I was a little kid, I never thought I'd see the Clone Wars. Because that was just like a throwaway line.
True, that's
like you think about it, Obi-Wan said, "Oh, I fought with your." It was just like that was it. I don't even think the Clone Wars were mentioned ever again in the first trilogy.
No, you're right. They have.
And it was just like a throwaway line. So the Kessel Run could be a throwaway line. It becomes way more because the spice mines of Kessel is where the Wookiees were taken and most of them died. So it could mean way more than.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. We'll do a prediction show like a month out.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, it's been a while now. We should move on to the next thing, huh?
So we're at our Garrison news section. Do we have little sound effects? Did you put sound effects in it last time?
A few.
Okay.
I can put a little thing for each section we get to.
So this is the eve of election season for us. So tonight at midnight, I guess, nominations start, or you can start nominating people. So for those that aren't in the 501st or Garrison Carida listening to this, or those that are and maybe just forgot, we have our elections for
the leadership within our. This is elections for just our garrison though, not the Legion.
I think the Legion as a whole. It's I was looking up all the charters and stuff like that. And it's every year we elect a new person unless there's no one contested. Like can't remember because
I know it's every year. I just didn't. I don't remember them being doing the exact same time.
Yeah, it's the same time.
You need the garrison leadership to then be able to communicate to the.
No, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. I think it's the same time. I'm pretty sure because then there's that holdover time from it's like a couple weeks. But for those that aren't in it, I mean the leadership. It's one of those thankless jobs. Even up to the higher ups, but
because it is all volunteer. You have a lot of responsibilities and work, and you're communicating with a lot of people, trying to balance a lot of data, a lot of requests and such coming in. But you're not.
You don't get any money, and then now spent especially since Disney has bought it. But even when Lucasfilm was before they were bought by Disney, there is communication with them too. To keep all make sure we do things right and we protect their property and stuff. And it's kind of a thankless job, but we've been lucky in our garrison, and most garrisons, people do really well. So I know our I don't think we'll talk about elections here because that's not. We're just here about promoting the Garrison, but it's fun. I mean, you get to hear some cool answers from people, and it's kind of I mean, I enjoy the process.
It's an interesting process because it also lets you see what people want out of the Garrison. That's when people become the most vocal. They're asking the questions like, "Hey, how can we get the Garrison or even the Legion in general moving in this direction?" So
it's a slow ship to turn. So but what's kind of nice about that is then it makes everyone's voice kind of be heard. You don't have to just listen to a few, and it's made our Garrison grow more and more. Like they want more kinds of events. We've gotten more events every year I've been in. So January 17th was my 10 or 11 years, 10-year anniversary from being in. So
congratulations.
Yeah. So and every year it's grown. Where it used to be you had a dozen events in a year. Now we have a dozen events sometimes in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of year. So, but yeah. So those that are listening make sure you go vote. It's a nice way to make sure you're heard, and if you have any concerns, it's the best way to speak up now. Those that aren't in it, it's again if you're thinking of joining, it's kind of neat. It's just another level of involvement. You have, and some people really are good at charity work. We have Stacy who does our events. She does such a really good job. I mean, and that's a thankless job because that's the hardest in the sense of daily. You're getting requests and you have to tell people, yes we can, and then you have to get people, all volunteers to show up.
Yeah, I think we have a couple.
Yeah, we have a bunch, but I think Stacy was I think she's I don't know if she's the head person, but I think she's been doing it the longest and it's spread out. We'll have to get names. We'll put names so we, next time we'll go over who's who.
Yeah.
Just, we're not going to go over now because when the election...
That's true.
we elect our CO, or we were talking about this right before we recorded the show. It's kind of like a military naming of things, just for the fun of it since it's a Garrison. But once you get a CO, then they kind of fill in who's who, and most of the time the people that want to do it, that it's not like they boot people out if someone's doing a good job, and some people need a break. Sometimes I remember when Wally was our GML, he did it for years, and he just needed a break. So
yeah, that's that. What else we got? Other news. It's back to The Last Jedi again. Everything about The Last Jedi, except this is not at the Penn Cinema Troupe. My good buddy Tyler Hart got engaged to his girlfriend, now fiance.
Right.
Kelly.
Fellow Millersville alumni.
Yeah, all of us are fellow Millersville.
All three. Yeah, we have to get him in a TK.
Oh yeah, that'd be even better.
So were you there? So did you see it?
Oh yeah, we put binders on his girlfriend when she came into the theater. Marched her into one of the theaters, which they had actually changed the ticker tape thing over top of it to say cell block 2187 or something like that. Oh
really? Oh, that's cool.
And so we walked in there, and all of their friends and family were sitting in the first couple rows, and then he did his sappy little speech thing, and. It was nice. She said yes, of course. It would have.
Yeah, that would have been really painful if she would said no.
She may or may not have been at blaster point, when she said that, but it's still a yes. Yes is binding. So.
Now she's a Star Wars fan too.
Yes, okay. I don't know if she intends to become a member. I don't think so.
But
I would have to assume that to put up with something like that, you'd have to be something.
Yeah, she's stuck with that for. That's going to be the beginning of every story.
Oh yeah. He teaches classes in his officer uniform sometimes. Nice. So, it's something that she'll have to get used to.
See, he definitely needs a TK.
He's almost done with his TIE pilot, though.
Oh, okay.
He's almost done with the armor.
Pilot you could take to school, because I've taken my TK to school, but I can't wear it, because I can't sit, or...
Yeah, it'd be a long day.
And we have another engagement.
Oh, yeah. Preston and Laurette.
Okay, so they didn't
do Star Warsy, but from what I remember from Facebook, it seemed pretty elaborate.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So maybe they'll have a Star Wars wedding.
Maybe.
Okay.
And he'll have the trooper,
procession.
Vanguard, procession.
There has to be someone in the garrison that's ordained too. Imagine being married by Darth Vader.
That would be so cool.
So
I would do it. Galactic Empire style. Though, have it all pre-recorded and played through speakers to make it as sound. Not.
I don't know though. Have you ever with Chris Rem? Have you ever trooped with Chris Rem? He has that voice changer, and he can speak.
Is it a quality voice changer? Because I've heard some of them where they're not. The best.
No. Chris speaks as Darth Vader.
All
like
right.
He recorded some of the audiobook from him and I was just playing around with some audio years ago, and the one children's book, and I had him read all the Vader parts in his voice changer.
All right.
Yeah, and he's tall, and so the tall guys they have the armor doesn't seem to be as restrictive on him as others. If you ever get to troop with him, he's like a mystery though, because he troops and then he just disappears into the fog.
That'd be why I haven't met him or don't remember meeting him yet.
You've probably trooped with him. But again, he's a mystery Darth Vader. Well, that's cool. And then the other thing we added this time was the new approval members. I bothered our GML to get the list, and here they were on our forums all the time. But we have a bunch, and I have a list. So if we missed you, we're going to figure out a way where new members can submit, so we can add you. But I just went through the December and some January ones. So I didn't put last names because some were missing last names, and so just to be nice, I didn't just everyone. But on December 8th, Mark was approved as Kylo. Congratulations, Mark.
On December 16th, Chris was approved as a biker scout. I assume that is.
Yeah, and then is that TB?
Yeah, those are TBs.
TB. Kylo would be SL.
No, he's DS, Dark Side. He's not officially in SL.
Oh, okay. So there's some more acronyms. SL is Sith Lord.
Sith Lord, yeah.
Okay.
Wrong section, dude. Come on.
I know. And then 1223 is Jamie. He was approved as a Vader. That's our XO right now. Our current XO, Jamie.
On the same day, Doug had his Maul approved, Darth Maul. That's an impressive costume. Those are not.
That's some dedication.
Not easy.
Some dedication. And then on January 10th, Ryan was approved as both a Jawa and a Tusken. So either he's a really short Tusken or a very tall Jawa.
Or a medium both.
Okay, that could be. That could be.
On the January 17th, Rick was approved in his Imperial Naval Trooper.
And that's the what used to be called the Death Star Trooper, right?
They're the big, wide bucket helmets. I always loved those. That was my favorite Lego Star Wars character, was the Naval Troopers with the big bucket helmets.
Yeah, I think they called them Death Star Troopers when I was a real little kid. They came out with an action figure. Yeah. Because somehow I wound up with two of them when I was a kid. I don't know how I wound up with two, but I wound up with two of them. Then on 123, January 23rd, Chad was the Snow Trooper Commander, which if you've ever seen that, it looks like a Snow Trooper, but it's hard plastic.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the...
It's really impressive.
Okay, on the 28th, Michael had his Darth Reven.
Darth Reven is nice. That's a detailed costume. That's a combination. It's like a combination of really cool paintwork, and then it has a lot of intricacies. I don't really know the Old Republic stuff very well, but I know that character.
Almost was made canon in Clone Wars. That was one of the thrown away scenes, was Anakin meeting the ghost of Darth Revan. But
there we go. It still could happen.
Still could happen.
And then Joe, on the 28th, he did 3. He did a TIE Reserve, a bridge crew, and an Imperial naval officer. And so this is one of those ones where, there's a lot of tiny detail that makes whole different costumes, and unlike a TK, they still get to sit down.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all those. If we miss someone, we'll get better at this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us know.
Which brings us to upcoming events. So we have we planned this show and we probably missed a few, but so we got some February events coming up. We have the THON at State College on February 17th. And we have a library event at Warminster that same day. So if you're at any one of those locations, you want to come see us, or if you're a trooper, check out the forums and sign up to troop one of those.
On the February 24th, then we have another library event in Bluebell, PA at the Wissahickon.
Yeah, I think you got that right.
Wissahickon Library.
Library events are fun. I mean,
Those are cool.
yeah, they're that's a whole different animal. And then depending on the library, I know I haven't seen them come up in ours, but I've seen them in some of the other garrisons. Now a lot of libraries are doing mini comic book conventions.
Yeah.
Like so they're always really neat. Then we're on the 27th. We're doing an honors band concert in Downingtown. So that's
that would be. I don't remember seeing if it was high school or middle school, but it's I think they're doing a Star Wars theme in their set, and they wanted to have some representation for that. They might be doing collections or donations there.
Okay, I'll have to look at. I think I might have missed that one on the boards because that's not that far from here. That's like 45 minutes from here, an hour. It's not far.
Something like that.
Down near Exton, but that's another one. And then
yeah, the next one. I unfortunately am not going to be able to make it to those. Just a little out of my range for the where I'm at right now. The one I will be going to next will be the March 10th Odyssey of the Mind competition at Millersville, and then our next episode will, start looking forward into the actual the March troops
right
further as we go month by month here. But that's the next one that I'll be going to, so I got some time to repair my armor.
And I'll be doing that one in one way, shape, or form. Zoe, who does Sabine, is competing in that one. And I'm going to do one down in Delaware in the beginning of March. That's on the First State Garrison's boards. But yeah, it's kind of weird this time of year. It's like it gets slowed down and then you get busy. And
yeah, you get large chunks of everybody needing a PCU at the same time, and then just a large chunk of nothing going on. So
then we thought we'd just do a quick missions report. So missions report for those that are in, that's just a summary of who went to a mission, how it went, and sometimes it could be as mundane as so-and-so was here and we parked here and we had a good time. Sometimes it's really detailed. So we just give you a quick couple mission reports of events that went on recently. So Hershey Bears game. So you were there, right?
That was a good.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I was there for that.
You can give us your mission report on Hershey.
My mission report of the Hershey Bears game. All right. So on January 7th, we were at the Giant Center in Hershey, PA. It was a nice drive for me because it's only 3 minutes away.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Beforehand, a bunch of us got together. We had lunch, and then we popped over to the local Disney store. Actually, at the Tanger Outlets in Hershey. Looking around, just trying to pick up some items that we could toss into a box to take to hospital visits and raffles and such like that. So that was good. After that, we went over to the Giant Center, and it took us a little bit. They didn't have the room ready. The rooms we were supposed to be in, the locker rooms we were supposed to be in, had teams in them because there was a game that went up until the minute we were supposed to be in there. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's always. I mean, for those that haven't trooped before, at least for me, the changing room, I've had to change outside. I've had to change in a car, but if that's because that's where you gotta leave all your stuff. So the changing rooms that's a biggie. Yeah.
So we were doing all right for a little bit when it was the 501st guys. Our Carida guys were plus James Welsh. The Carida guys plus James Welsh were. There first, we were able to kind of pick our spots. Then Ghost Base and the Capital City Jedi Knights showed up. It made it a little bit more crowded. Then finally, the other locker room, we were supposed to have two. We were only really able to use one. But the other one opened up and space was a little bit more available.
Oh, that's good.
They had really, really diligent employees that they had just take us up to the concourse and lead us around. They actually positioned us into spaces and set up queue lines so that people could take pictures.
That's nice.
It wasn't it helped us fight the crowd a little bit. It was keeping people organized, keeping them from pushing other people out of the way, sort of deal. And it was good. I think we were up there 3 separate times. We had 2 15-minute breaks in between them. And they had divided us into separate groups too, so that at any given moment you could go to a specific location and find specific characters. So
that's nice.
I was with it was 4 TKs, 2 guards, and Vader. So we had a really nice
that's
symmetrical
yeah.
arc going on. That
Oh
was
yeah,
good.
I was looking at who your guards. You had Drew and Kevin. So they
Yep.
and they have really nice matching.
Oh yeah.
Matching guards. I'm just looking at who you had. You had Vader, TIE pilots, stormtroopers. Wally was Boba Fett.
Yeah. Wally was
And
Boba,
then
that's
Paul
right.
was
the other
the shore trooper. The shore trooper. I think if any trooper anything that comes out of Rogue One that kind of sticks. It's just like Rex kind of stuck from Clone Wars. Like, you'll still see Rexes and people still line up for them. I think Shore Trooper is going to be that armor that... Because there's really no... I haven't even seen any Stormtrooper armor from Rogue One in person. I
haven't seen it in person.
Yeah.
I've started seeing it pop up on Facebook builds. I forgot. Matt put together a really good report for this one. We got our Lord Vader, Guards, TIE Reserve, Stormies, Sarlacc Food, Beach Bum, Mischief Monk, Fearless Furball, Squire Photog, and Stone Trooper.
yeah, there you go. So, it sounds like a good time. We didn't go, but it was nice that James came up from Corellia.
Yeah, he brought his trooper repair kit too, so he had everything everybody needed. There was some serious hot glue action going on in the bathroom down there. It smelled like burnt smoke because there was just smoke in there because of how much glue was needed to. I think it was Boba. Boba had a lot of parts falling off, and I think Sean may have actually lost a part off his Vader too.
Oh yeah. Well, you get the crowds too, and and sometimes that's where it comes into packing and stuff. Like if you're in a tight space, a lot of that damage happens when you're unpacking and packing up. But it's good. I'm glad you had a good time.
Other than that, we got to visit some Children's Miracle Network kids.
Oh,
the same organization that does the Children's Miracle Network party.
Yeah, we trooped that last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to visit some of them, and there was also the other group went up to the, the lounge sort of deal, the VIP.
Oh, that's
premium
nice.
Member lounge.
Was it you and me that walked through the skyboxes one time at me and another
This was
TK.
my first hockey game.
No, not here
first
at the
Hershey.
baseball game. The one time at the Barnstormers, me and another TK, we went through all the boxes.
Maybe.
Time.
I've done that with a big group of people.
It was just me and one other guy one time we did it. But that's cool. Well, the other report we have is Steel City.
That you were at.
I
right?
went to. And this Steel City was a different troop for those that are listening. We used to do it all the time. We had tons of people come, so we're just getting it back. But it's slightly different in the sense that we actually had to pay for our tickets and stuff like that. We still have a place to change. But it was kind of fun. It was laid back, and it was a good time. I don't think... we had Daniel Logan was there. So Daniel Logan came and hung at the table for a little while.
All right.
And took some pictures with some guys. Took some pictures with Zoe, and then... it was just, there's a lot of people there that just know us, and
Steel City Con, for those who don't know, is a comic convention in Monroeville, outside of Pittsburgh.
Right, and it's just been, we've been doing it for, I think they said 15 years or something like that. We've been doing it, so it's a good con, and I don't have any it wasn't a big, because it was a big spread out all over the weekend, so people come and go. We were just there Saturday and Sunday. We got there late Friday night, and
they have a couple each year, though.
3
It's not
year.
just so. There's one coming up in April.
Yes,
I'm considering going to that one, but I wouldn't be able to go
And
that Friday. I'd have to go Saturday and Sunday.
and Emperor Palpatine will be there.
Yeah, Ian McDiarmid.
Well, the one time Marty and I were
his name
there,
is.
we got to hang out with Matt Wood, the sound guy from Lucasfilm.
I would have loved to hang out.
Yes.
Hung out with that guy.
Yeah, so I don't know. If you get a chance, I would say as a 501st member or just as a person, just as a ticket buyer, I would try Steel City. All right, then we had the other ones I just put up. Neither of us had been to. There was the Wilkes-Barre. Was that Health Day? I don't know how do you
Pediatria?
Pediatria Day. And Marty went as Chewie and R2, and Dave went as Vader, and Mike went as his Desert Trooper, and they had a Squire, and that was a good one. A bunch of kids came over, and then the other troops just I just want to list all the places we were for The Last Jedi, just to give props to all those people, because it's hard trooping the movie because you want to see it.
Yeah.
And you don't want it spoiled while you're in your armor, but you want to be there for the people getting their pictures taken. But we did it at Lidditz, Penn Cinema, Allentown, Millersburg, Reading IMAX, Exton. The Exton one I missed. I was supposed to troop that and it snowed. And I just didn't feel like safety putting my kids in my little tiny car all the way to Exton. They did the Allentown Theater, a Carlisle Theater, and the Carlisle Theater, I think if I remember correctly, it was a doctor that rented out the whole theater and then sold the tickets, and all the proceeds went to the homeless shelter or something. He just did a wonderful thing with our guys. And then there was a Collegeville movie tavern. So we did a lot of those.
In 3-4 days.
Yeah, it was a bit. And, well, you know what's not on here? We also did the Whitaker Center in Harrisburg. Center one. So, we did a lot of troops. We met a lot of kids, made a lot of people happy. And
some good news coverage, too. News 8 was out at the Penn Cinema one.
Right. Yeah, News 8 was there. So it was a lot of fun. I think everyone had a good time, Yeah. All right, so that brings us up to our acronyms of the day.
Yeah, so it was mentioned to us on Facebook that we use a lot of acronyms when we refer to the 501st. Even the 501st itself is technically shortened jargon for the 501st Legion,
Right.
And so it was the idea was given to us that we should review some of these, that we should take a look at explain some of them. I know the last episode we went over things like TK and CRL. TK, of course, is standing somehow for Stormtrooper.
And I think that just comes from the movie when that guy's TK 420's, was it 421?
421, yeah.
421's comm didn't work. It was the one that Luke or Han killed.
So it came from the random assignment of letters, that they used as a code that became the code for Stormtrooper. And the other one we went over was CRL, which we discussed was Costume Reference Library, which is the combined information source of the approvable costumes with the details that go into them and everything necessary to become an approved member.
And then the other acronyms I could think of that we use maybe a little more is, and we were talking about this, so we have troops, like the word, if we use troop as a verb, the word troop, like I'm going to troop tomorrow, that means we're usually going to an event.
Yeah, we have an event to go to. It doesn't necessarily, people use it not necessarily because they're specifically stormtroopers.
Right.
For us, obviously, it's a little bit more specific because everywhere we go in armor is a troop.
Right,
we are a trooper at the troop.
Right.
But otherwise, it refers to the...
Like if Vader's going, he's trooping.
He's trooping.
Right.
Jawa's going, that Jawa's trooping.
Right. So if you hear the word troop or trooping, that's what they mean. And we say it so often, and I'll say it to people, like at work, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm trooping. And they look at me like, what did you just say? So, troop, what else? Squire.
That's right, Squire. Squire is I know other garrisons use it too, but locally, for us, that's what we use to describe the person who's out of costume but still with us, who's either taking photos, running crowd control, keeping an eye on our costumes to make sure they're not falling apart.
Right. Oh yeah, and seeing if we need help, because sometimes you can't verbalize, like you might be moving an arm because something's not working. And I always think of Squire back to those medieval days when the Squire is the one to help put the armor on. And that's where we got our word Squire. But yeah, it's usually the ones they're doing a lot. We just get to stand there. A lot of times I squired a couple times, and it's way more work than you think. And they have a whole set of rules too, like what they can do.
Because it's, there's certain information, especially if the Squire is not one of the garrison leadership, then there's some things you can and can't talk to people about. You got to send them another way. Obviously, you can't.
And I would say our squires are extremely well informed.
Yes.
And so normally, if someone has a question, when I'm in a stormtrooper suit, I can hear about every other word someone's saying, depending on the noise in the room.
Yeah.
And they can usually hear about every other word I'm saying, even if I have my amp on. It distorts.
Still gets lost.
So.
But in other places, though, sometimes I've heard them referred to as other things other than squire.
Handlers.
Handlers one. There was another one too. I feel like it was
Wranglers. Was it Wranglers?
Wrangler, maybe. We had a question in the last episode that we did.
Oh, okay.
It was.
Yeah, we'll have to look back. But yeah, there's.
I don't remember.
There's all depending on if you read wherever you live. They probably and if drop us a line. It'd be neat to have all the different names that people use. Just to see what
yeah.
what they have. But we use squires here in Garrison, Carida. And then the other one I was looking up mainly because I was thinking of the election, and I was thinking, well, no matter who's elected, what person is every new trooper and every trooper working on armor going to deal with? And it's the GML.
The GML.
And that acronym stands for Garrison.
Garrison Membership Liaison.
Yes. And basically, they're in charge of approving your armor.
Didn't know you were waiting for me to.
No. I was like, oh man, I don't know it right off the top of my head. I better look at the screen.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Yes. Drum roll. Put a drum roll in there when you're in post. But yeah, the Garrison members, they're probably. I think sometimes they might get a bad rap because they're the person that has to say no. And sometimes it's very hurtful.
They're also the ones that have to be picky about the things like the distance between your shoulder bell and the shoulder pad and the like chest box or something, or how much of a gap you have on your thighs. Really, really tiny details that us regulars wouldn't notice. I could never pull it as a GML because I am not that detail oriented.
Well, and what's good about at least our GML, we can only speak for Garrison Creed's GMLs.
Also true, yes.
What's nice about it is they seem to surround themselves with people that are experts in different things. Because I don't think there could be there's very few people that are experts in everything. So they usually they consult with people, like they might have someone who has a really good Vader. Because I like the Vader costume, but just from the old movies, there's 3 different Vader costumes. And so, you can't have the New Hope helmet with the Empire Strikes Back chest box and the Return of the Jedi shoulder whatevers. They're all slightly different. Now, I don't know how they're different, but I know they're different. And what we know is TKs, you can't have a certain lens in with a certain mask. You can't have a certain paint scheme. So they look at all that. And overall, I would say their job is to make sure we get quality members.
Exactly.
I think sometimes they're perceived as just telling people no. But from all the GMLs I know, it seems like they take it seriously and try not to hurt our feelings. It's just hard for some people. You work on a costume for months or even a year, and you use the wrong color gray.
Yeah. That's what's hard. What I notice is some people where they put a rivet somewhere it doesn't belong.
Oh, yeah.
And then then it's asking questions on, okay, how do I gotta fill in a hole, I gotta repolish it to make it match whatever it needs to do.
Did you see there was someone that put a rivet in the front of their TK?
That's the one that I saw.
Yeah,
it was like dead center of their ammo pack on their knee.
And so that goes as a little lesson, children. If you're building your armor, get in touch with someone before you're doing anything.
And ask the questions. If you have to ask, does this rivet go here after you've already put it there?
Yeah. Well, and and I know this from asking other people. The hardest thing the GML to get across to people is it has to fit you.
Yes.
And because now that the 501st has been around a while, it's always like, well, this was Uncle Bob's TK. Well, Uncle Bob weighed 300 pounds and you weigh 110. It has to be fitted to you. And then the soft costumes, I like the armor, but the soft costumes are even harder because they have to be tailored.
Yeah.
Like the Empire, they were ruthless and all this, but they were pretty big on tailored fit.
Oh, yeah. They made sure that those officers were class.
Right. and like I said, so I want to thank our GML.
Absolutely.
For Roddy, for everything they do. But it is kind of a thankless job. So,
yeah, I'd say so. And I think we're gonna kind of cut our acronyms and jargon there for the day.
Well, we spent a lot of time on the Last Jedi too.
We did.
So this was
20 whole minutes.
Yeah. So because I don't even know if we have time for a CRL look this week. Maybe between now and then, people should send us what CRL they would like us to talk about.
Yeah, there you go. all right, yeah, we're gonna do that because we are lazy.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, and also, like, I could talk about TKs all day, and I wouldn't. Sure. I would probably never look. Kevin's going to get mad at me. I would probably never look at a Royal Guard. Like, you know, I mean, all the Royal Guards out there. I'm very sorry to say, but that costume to me seems very uncomfortable for me personally. I watch them put those helmets on. And that scares me. I want to be able to move my neck.
Yeah, all of them say though, like they can breathe just fine. You know, they lift their shoulders, they get a suck of air up in there, and then it's good to go. They apparently have less fogging issues than we do as
well,
TKs,
I guess, but that's why it'd be nice if people ask. So we would look at ones that we don't, you know, that we wouldn't look at. Because honestly, I would do TK first. I would probably do Sand Trooper second. Then I'd probably go to like Scarif Trooper, maybe Boba Fett, you know.
Don't you dare ask me what an approvable Wampa looks like. I'd have no idea.
No, but there's a Wampa.
Willy Wampa.
Willy Wampa, but I think, he's in Old Line Garrison, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is the Wampa in it? Well, yeah,
I don't even know if that's in the CRL.
No, I think there is a CRL because there was a guy in Florida, I think, that started it. There is a CRL. That's probably the same as a Sand Person. Denizen, DZ.
Yeah, I believe that.
I would guess that would be, No one.
Obviously, we could very easily look this up right now.
Right, I know, but come on. We've gone 56 minutes.
What are you guys going to complain to us about if we don't have some wrong information in our podcast? Come on.
And we don't really have a Know Your Neighbors section, but I'm thinking after the election, I'm not 100% sure who's going to be elected with what, but I know a bunch of people, like, I was thinking maybe I can get some statements from, like, Old Line. So Old Line's the people down below in Maryland. Mm-hmm. Then we have our first state garrison, which is Delaware. I just got on their forums, and I actually put a post out. If they had any information they would want on our podcast, we'll throw it on there. Have an online section. And then we got to reach out to Starkiller Base. We'll find out who. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait till their election, find out who's in charge, and then I'll...
Starkiller Base, of course, is our recent addition to the other half of the western half of PA.
Right, the western half of PA is Starkiller Base. So once they have their election and we figure out who will bother, probably their PR person. Every garrison has a PR, so we'll bother them. And then I was corrected that we forgot Corellia. That's James reminded me that he's our neighbor too. So we have James, and then I always forget of New Jersey too, which I don't know.
The Northeast Remnant.
Is that the Northeast Remnant?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll have to get a hold of the Northeast Remnant, and we'll just any information there, and I think
we got a lot of garrisons in very close proximity to ours.
Oh, New York too.
New York too.
And then, we have, while we're wrapping up here, questions, emails, and feedback. We got 2 questions, so I feel really like at least we got 2 people listening, right?
Or 2 people who mistook our page for a General 501st page. But you know what? Good enough. Okay. If we tricked you into listening to our podcast, then hey, great. All the better for it.
So we have Tom from North Wales, and
Wales.
North Wales.
Yeah, Wales.
So that's further than I've ever been from here. So here I'm going to read his question. It says, "Hello, do the 501st write up contracts for event organizers for any event to only allow them to troop in Star Wars costumes and stop other costuming clubs from trooping Star Wars costumes?" All right. So the easy answer is no. So we don't, the 501st, and now I can only speak for our garrison. Now I know local garrisons might have, sneak things in, but I think overall we're not like an exclusive group, but most of that would come from the organizer. Yeah.
So we have in cases where there's a relationship between the organizer of an event and the garrison, then they go to the garrison and because they already know, they already have the connection. Especially if we've already been there.
Right.
But there's nothing, no legalese or written on paper like we are the exclusive garrison to take care of this specific library or something like that.
Right.
Or a convention. But again, we can only really speak for our garrison because we aren't entirely sure of how conventions especially are run in other states.
Yeah, now, and conventions, but I would know that at the 501st level, they're not saying if you have us, you can't have other Star Wars groups.
Yeah.
They're not, I'm 100% guaranteed about that. However, depending on the venue, also depending on Disney too. Like Disney, depending on what the event is, there is strict like guidelines for how things have to be done, especially when it's not all charity. Charity, and a lot of times charity events they'll say we want 500 first. It's between they don't want anyone else. Not that they just want to worry about one group.
Yeah.
Like if you have a small charity event and you invite the 500 first, and 6 other people not affiliated with them, probably that group just want someone they can contact. But they don't write up that. If they are, that's not a 500 first thing. But you can ask us some more questions if you have more specifics. I don't know if that helped, and if there's something you're concerned about, I don't know what we can do over here, but I could at least tell you who to contact if you have questions. But I would recommend, if you're in the 500 first, check out with your leadership and talk to them. So our next one is from Caden. It says he's from a secret base, but I know he's from Lancaster's Rebel Cause.
Well, you probably just blew his cover.
I know, but he wants to be known because his group helps homeless. Now I don't know if we'll have this posted up. We probably should, but this Friday. So what's that? The 2nd? He's auctioning off a TK helmet to help the homeless in Lancaster.
Is it the pink shock trooper helmet?
No, this is actually
thinking of a different one.
This is actually a white TK that was
Okay,
donated by my daughter and Lizzie from Star Wars Geek Girl to help him raise money. But his question is, what is the coolest experience that you have had through the 500 first? So we talked about this earlier. This is a hard question because I could start listing single things, but I think when the thing that right now that hits me the most, 2 things. I get to be invisible. I put on my helmet and no one knows who I am. I could be, anybody. And secondly, there's sometimes when I'm trooping, I'm in a dressing room and I'm just getting ready to put my helmet on. I see I'm wearing Stormtrooper armor. Like that's like the craziest thing, I mean, there's always stuff we'll remember, but to me it just changes.
It's like you said earlier. It's very hard to have a bad day when you put on the armor. You could be having the worst day ever. I think I got dumped on a day that I trooped. To this day, when I think back to that day, I remember the troop.
Well, that's pretty healthy. Yeah. Right? There's some girl hearing that's probably extremely upset now. She's like, I was trying to ruin his day. No, yeah, I mean, because I've just I've done some Make-A-Wish that were really cool, and I've been lucky enough to do some Weird Al, which were really cool. But I think overall, it's just this weird. Just you can be invisible. We live in this. To me, we live in this world where everyone knows what you're doing at all times, and I can stick on that Stormtrooper. No one knows who I am. I mean, I've had my students come up. I've trooped. There's kids in this grocery store in town I live that were hugging me in almost tears at an event one time, getting pictures when Zoe had a thing at her school, and I just laugh every time I check out of the grocery store because I remember that kid crying. If I would have said, "Remember that old man you were hugging?" but he was all getting pictures with me and stuff. It's just funny. So
it's really hard to sum up to find a coolest experience. I personally haven't been to a Weird Al concert, or I'm part of that. I missed out on one of those opportunities, but I hear that's really.
There's going to be a next round. You white.
I hope so.
2019.
Come on, Weird Al. Weird Al, come on. Put a tour again. Tour with Star Wars again.
He will. He will. I think he tried to find himself this year, and he's going to.
He'll find himself back in Star Wars. That's
right.
For sure. But I'd say probably along the same line of that whole anonymity deal but it was really the first time I experienced that. I will always remember my first troop because that's really I had been cosplaying pretty much my whole life up until that point, but it was the first time that I had worn a costume and became a character without people knowing who I was, without having to have the full facial emotion on. I could dance and be a weirdo without really having any care. It was a real confidence booster.
Yep. It's weird, like, when I always liked the Millersville troop, because I went to school there.
Yeah.
And it is kind of neat to just, I mean, I've been out of it way longer than you, but it is kind of neat to just, invisibly walk through your old college town.
I did enjoy, even this past year, I've been in a couple different videos now. The promotional video by the, what was it, Seven Wonders Cinema, I think they did.
Yeah, that's a good video.
Yeah, I'm the one who's doing all the stunts. The guy who's kneeling on the
Is that
ground.
why you have to repair your armor?
That's why I have so many repairs that need to be done. It's mostly because of that one video. The other one, of course, being the Galactic Empire Duel of Fates video.
Oh, okay. I actually haven't seen that. I'll have to check it out.
It's a really good video. It turned out really
We'll have to link it. We'll link those videos.
Yeah, we'll share links to those videos. I think we've shared them before, but the Duel of Fates one, I'm the stormtrooper that zooms in on. Like,
nice.
Who's like looking in slow motion in the woods around, and I like seeing that. But also it's not me. It's the stormtrooper.
Right.
I can't lie. I've seen that video has been shared probably upwards around 100,000 times. Maybe not 100. Maybe closer to 75,000 times.
We need to put like a little mark on your armor so you can say, yeah, that really is me.
I've already got. I've picked out all the marks on.
Oh, okay.
I know. Don't worry. I'm already right there. I know the marks on my armor. But I can't just like every time I see it shared to a random organization, I can't just be like, oh, that was me. Oh, look, I was in there too. It would be just rude. But at the same time, it's really cool. Like,
tag yourself.
just say like you got to be a part of that, and I never would have been able to be a part of that sort of thing to involve myself with a band that I enjoy like that had I not been in the 501st. That's a really cool connection.
It is. Well, I just think of the people I met. Like I think of the people that I've spent more time with in the last 10 years. I would have never met. I mean, you and I would have never met. I think of Marty. I would have never met Marty, Dan, people that, so. So hopefully that answers your question.
We'll call that the coolest experience.
Yes.
People that we have met.
Right, and we didn't have a super theme here, but I mean, I can't say enough what a positive influence Garrison Carida and 501st have been. I know when you're not in it. It's easy not to see all that, but and I guess like right before we say our goodbyes, I mean, if you're thinking of joining, get a hold of someone and let us help you.
Yeah, somebody's always willing.
Yep, and this is a time we're gonna have Star Wars every it's like
Rian Johnson's new trilogy. Yeah,
yep.
It's Star Wars every year for the next
forever. Yep. So.
All right, we've been going for almost
an
hour and 10 minutes or so once I stick the bumpers on. So.
Yeah. All right, so
I guess we should call it.
Yeah, where to find us? We have a website, CaridaCast.com. I'm going to play with that a little more.
Work on it.
Yeah, we have CaridaCast on Facebook, SoundCloud, Google Play.
Is it Google Play, not Google Plus? What is? I don't know.
I don't understand Google, but if you get podcasts on your Google device, we're there. Because I just went into it and put our feed on there from SoundCloud. A lot of people, if and we have. Do we have? We have an Instagram?
We do not.
No,
but I marked
Carida.
them. So the Carida, I figured, fair that we mentioned that Garrison Carida does have its own. It has its own Facebook page. Its Instagram at 501st or 501st Garrison Carida
One big word.
501 ST 501st. But they do have their own. I don't know if we have a Twitter. I feel like there's a Twitter, but I don't have a Twitter.
If you go on Garrison Carida, and again, this is our podcast. We're not like official, like podcasters of the Carida. This is just us trying to promote Garrison Carida. We're official Garrison Carida members who are doing this podcast to promote us. But like, I don't think there's like official. Maybe we'll eventually be official podcasters.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But. So this is just us trying to promote something we love.
So, but we also then put up those polls. We have those Google Drive.
Yeah, Google Forms.
Polls.
I'll put some forms up again. I'll put a new one up for questions for the next show. Thank you for those that put questions in. I'll put one up for the members if you want any announcements put on. We'll figure out all kinds of stuff. Email us. You can email me at mike@caridacast.com. It's MIKE@caridacast, all one word.com.
Or, Colin at CaridaCast.com.
1 L.
1 L.
1 L.
Okay, that's the only pet peeve I have in my entire life that
I spelled it right. I spelled it right. Okay.
It's 1 L.
So you can email us. You can find us on Facebook. Just let us know, and we're just trying to make the show. We want it to be a good show for people that are in the Garrison, and we want it to be a show for people that are thinking about. We do ask if you go on Facebook, rate it, because the more ratings we get, the higher we get put up on the Facebook feed. So when
I didn't even know that was a thing. But
so if you go into or not Facebook. I'm sorry, I said Facebook. I meant iTunes.
Oh, that's why I didn't know.
That's right. If you go to iTunes, rate us. Make sure you give us a good rating. I mean, give us a real rating. But if it's a bad rating, then don't do that. But if it, just give us a good rating. It moves us up. So when someone looks up Star Wars Podcast, this moves us up to the top. Helps our numbers. We'll see about getting some merch or something out because we're gonna have to start paying for our goodies. And thanks again for listening. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.